Okay. That's synced on the thing now, so we can go from wherever we want.
Sweet.
So
Hey guys, welcome to episode 2
Indeed.
of the Amore podcast. It's kind of a weird one. It's kind of a Christmas one, but it's also not. We've got presents for each other, which we didn't give to each other for Christmas because we're both super busy and we just didn't get a chance to catch up. So we're actually going to give each other presents.
Yeah, let's do the presents now.
It was also Charles' birthday yesterday, so it's a kind of a Christmas/birthday present. So happy birthday.
Thank you, Rick.
So yeah, this is for you.
Sweet, thank you.
The suspense. I hope you like it. I've got a receipt to go.
Yeah, I'm sure I love it. Like, everyone goes to Vans for me, and I love it. Mate, that is sick. That is just super clean.
It's oversized, which I know Charles loves.
Mate, literally, that's all I live in is like oversized t-shirts.
One of our hobbies together outside of photography is rock climbing. So we go rock climbing together quite a lot, and every time we go, one of us has a progressively baggier t-shirt on. So you might be winning with that one now.
Mate, yeah, I love it. Thank you, bro. That is sick.
Okay.
This is for you. This is a little bit. This one is a little bit. It's a present, but it's also a payback.
I think I know what this is. Nice. Climbing chalk.
So yeah, like I said, we go climbing a lot, and
thanks, man.
Alex got me into climbing, and for like the entire couple of months that we were going, I've just been nicking his chalk all the time. So it's kind of a present, but I've probably used a bag of your chalk just on myself. And
I guarantee you, have you got any of your own chalk now?
Yeah.
Oh, you have? I was going to say next time we go, he's going to be using that bag anyway. But
mate, I've got a massive chalk bag now.
Nice, that's sick.
Yeah, mate.
Cool.
You can nick my chalk now
Awesome.
for a couple of sessions, like pay you back.
That's funny. Do you have a good Christmas?
Yeah, it was good. Yeah, we just kind of chilled out and saw the family. We spent Christmas Day with my parents, and then Boxing Day then with Rona's parents.
Nice.
And, yeah, what about you?
Nice. Yeah, it was all good. We went over my wife's Holly's family. We just chilled there, which was really sick. We had like a few things over ours. We had a New Year's Eve party with a few friends and stuff, so that was really chilled. But yeah, just took some time off, just relax, you know. Kind of good just to like step away from work sometimes.
That's it. Yeah.
Do nothing, you know.
Yeah.
You went away, didn't you?
Yeah, so we went to the Lake District for New Year's, and mate, it just rained the entire time.
It still looked cool though.
It was nice. We still got some cool photos. It was a super chill time. We went there with a couple of other people that have vans.
Nice.
So we all kind of went on like this like van life kind of style holiday. And mate, it would have been awesome if it wasn't just raining the entire time, because it was like obviously going for a hike and then trying to dry loads of like boots and coats and stuff like that. Yeah, it was just a nightmare, but it was still good. It was still good. Loved it.
Nice.
But
cool.
Yeah.
We've got some small progression with the Amore at the moment. We got some new business cards, which we got designed and stuff, which are just super clean and kind of keeping our brand identity sort of. You know, we like our style to be quite clean and neutral, don't we? So
exactly that, mate. Yeah, obviously you got like the green, that's like an olive green, and obviously the gold on there as well, which we really like. And yeah, it's just super clean, super simple. Yeah, it doesn't have to. The thing is, the business card doesn't have to be complicated.
No.
Like
we just wanted it really simple, didn't we? Just that's our brand. That's it. You know.
That's literally it. Yeah. But yeah, it's super clean. We love it.
Nice. So yeah, today we're going to just talk about a day in the life of a wedding photographer. Really.
Yeah.
We're going to kind of just chat back and forth. We haven't got a script or anything. We're just going to have a chat about it and just give you guys a bit of an insight into what our day-to-day run-in's like, really.
Yeah.
So yeah, let's just
100%,
get straight into it.
Yeah, I think the first place to start, obviously we mentioned on the first podcast, is kind of like a lot of the time I'll go to groom prep, a lot of the time you'll go to bride prep. So kind of the first thing that I guess to start is kind of what. So you've got a wedding booked, say for tomorrow. Let's take it right the way back. Night before. What are you doing?
I'm glad you brought that up.
What are you doing night before preparing?
Yeah. The night before's a weird one. I don't know how you feel, but the night before I'm always super anxious. I don't know if we've ever spoken about this before, but yeah, like my anxiety just massively kicks in, and like I feel very nervous, and not because I'm not capable of doing the job. Yeah. Like I've done countless amount of weddings, and I've got the experience and the skill set. It's not a problem, but it's someone's like most important day. Yeah. And it's not just important to them, but it's important to their friends, it's important to all the other suppliers, it's important to us. and I just feel like a huge amount of pressure that, you know, we've got to deliver.
Yeah.
Like, those photos need to be perfect because that's what the couple get to take away with them, you know?
Yeah.
So yeah, there's a huge amount of anxiety just straight off the bat. But yeah, I mean, in terms of like preparation, everything's on charge.
Yeah.
SD cards are all like laid out. They're all formatted.
Yeah.
So we know we're all ready to go. Batteries are charging. Bags packed. Clothes are ironed, because I don't. we tend to quite like to go quite smart to weddings, so like I don't want to be rocking up with like a crease shirt.
Yeah.
So that's already ironed the night before, and I definitely always try and get an early night because
Yeah.
I just want to feel fresh in the morning.
Yeah.
I don't want to be tired and stuff.
In terms of, you have a lot of SD cards and a lot of batteries. I mean, that's the thing as well. Like when you're shooting a wedding, it's kind of like there's so much that goes into it, and you're constantly obviously on your camera, and you're just rinsing through batteries. I think we go through like 2 batteries each on a wedding. So like it is the scariest thing in the world when you go put another battery in your camera, and it's like you know you've charged it, but always in the back of your mind you're like, do not say anything other than 100%.
Yeah, exactly. I mean, we take our chargers and stuff with us.
Yeah.
We'll get to that part later on in the day with sitting down
Yeah.
for food and stuff. But everything comes with us regardless.
Yeah.
But yeah, like Charles said, it's the peace of mind of knowing that everything's set up the night before.
Yeah.
Which is great. Charles and I will do meetings with customers before we go to weddings. So we've got like a tick sheet and like a load of information from the couple to what their wedding day is going to entail, and the kind of key points that we need to know from them.
Yeah.
So, you know, certain family members, certain like things that they've got on a wedding day that they want us to like photograph in a certain way or whatever. Mm-hmm. So we've got like a tick sheet essentially. So I'm going over that the night before. That also comes with me as well. Just so I've literally got everything with me. I don't want to be at a wedding day and being like, oh no, I've forgotten something, or you know, what did they ask me to photograph there and stuff like that. So it's
always better to fill the camera bag with too much than get there and need something.
Exactly.
I think for me, obviously, you touched on like getting a bit nervous and stuff like that. I don't really get those. I don't get any nerves in the sense of what the job entails. In the sense of like, I'm not nervous about capturing someone's day. If anything, that's like the one thing I'm confident I can do. All I get now, I set about 15 alarms.
Yeah.
Because there was one wedding we did where my alarms didn't go off.
Yeah. So
Alex was shooting a wedding, I was second shooting for him, and I'd had like my one alarm set, like my 7 o'clock alarm, and it didn't go off. And I remember waking up and like the sun was coming through the window, and I was like, this like feeling in your stomach. I was like, oh no.
Yeah.
And I grabbed my phone, and thankfully it was only 7:30. And you were like, you texted me like on your way, and I was like, sweet, clothes on. I knew everything was same as you. I knew everything was charged, all that, everything was sorted. But yeah, since then I was like my body had just woken up because it knew I needed to wake up. But yeah, since then I'm like 15 alarms because that is the worst thing in the world. Like I feel. As soon as I get to the venue and that, I'm super confident. Yeah. But for me, it's making sure I'm up. I'm not gonna miss anything. Like I'll get there super early. Yeah. A lot of the time, I'll get to a wedding venue well early and just sit in the cafe or sit in the bar or something like that. But at least I'm there.
Sometimes it's nice to get there early just to kind of get a lay of the land as well.
Yeah, just have a walk around.
Especially if you haven't been there before, you know.
Yeah.
Wedding days, even though they're planned a lot by the couple and by us and by other vendors as well, things just happen, and like the day sometimes just unravels. So we've got a certain style with our photography, but more often than not we're just documentary photographers. Yeah. Which like I know some people advertise that, but everyone is that, because you're just documenting the day, and even though you've got a bit of a plan of what's going on, sometimes things just happen that you don't know are going to happen. You've got to just photograph it. You know, you've just got to document what is happening in front of you. So yeah, being there early, having all your stuff ready, being prepared, gives you that peace of mind of being like, right, whatever happens here, I can just roll with it, and I can get the best photos I possibly can here.
100%.
So that's kind of like the preparation side of things. And then obviously, like Charles said, I tend to go to bride prep in the morning. Charles typically tends to go to groom prep. Wedding days vary. Sometimes bride prep's in one location, groom prep's in another location. Sometimes it's all in one spot, which is ideal, but it doesn't always work out like that. So just going worst case scenario. I tend to go to bride prep with the bride and stuff. I'll be there usually 3 or 4 hours before they're going to go to the ceremony. So I'm there for makeup, hair, getting dresses on and stuff like that. We do a few group shots and stuff. Just really going through the whole process with them. It's a really nice time as well to get to know everybody. Because everybody that's in that room is essentially the main wedding party, along with obviously the groom side. So you get a good amount of time when it's quite chill, just to like be with people, have a chat with them all, get to know them a little bit more and stuff, which is really, really nice. And I'm assuming it's the same with you when you go to groom prep.
Yeah, it's essentially the same with groom prep. Usually I arrive a bit later because obviously all that really happens at groom prep is the guys may do their hair, have a shower, bit of aftershave, drink beer and put on a suit. Like it's a lot more like usually they won't get ready until probably an hour before they're actually going, and then they'll just chill for a bit and then they'll go to the ceremony. But so usually we'll arrive, say you arrive at a bride prep at like 8 in the morning, I'll probably arrive at a groom prep at like 10. Which is nice because I get a bit of lighting. But so essentially it's just again shooting them, getting ready. A lot of the time it's getting them. It's a bit weird. It's probably the same with bride prep. It's getting them to do stuff that they wouldn't usually do. So like usually the groom would be like just chucking his suit on, and it's like that's all very well and good. I'll get a photo of you putting your suit on, but let's get a photo of your best man just doing your buttons, giving you a handshake, that kind of thing. And sometimes in the moment they're a bit like, okay, that's weird. And then when they see the photos afterwards, they're like, it's weird because like they knew it was staged, but it encompasses. They're like, oh yeah, that was what it was like at groom prep. It was it's less about the actual that one specific photo and more about that photo shows that it was a group together,
100%.
Preparing for something,
100%.
All in it together, nerves and stuff like that, having some beers, and it's just about like shooting, them getting ready. And a lot of the time, like I mentioned in the last podcast, the groom is really nervous. Like sometimes the music's pumping and the beers are going, and
he's still nervous though.
But sometimes it's like I've been to one groom prep, it was just really quiet. Like they had music on really quiet in the background. I think they had like 1 beer each because the groom didn't want to drink because he was nervous, and it was just like, but it was a completely different. It still had that like vibe of all being in it, like the boys are all in it together, but it was just a completely different tone of like it was a lot more calm, a lot more chill.
And I think that just varies from couple to couple. But what you were just saying about having to position people sometimes to do things, like you have to just give people a certain amount of direction sometimes to capture those types of photos. We are a storyteller, so when you were just saying you get the best man to do like the groom's tie and stuff like that, like he's his best man. He wants photos with him. They don't just want a photo smiling at the camera. They want to be engaging together. But the difficulty sometimes with guys is that they're just independent and they just do their own thing. But it's like, right guys, this is your wedding day, like he's your best man, like you need to kind of do something,
show a bit of romance.
So having that direction from us is super helpful. It's a bit easier in bride prep sometimes because girls are obviously way more friendly to each other. So they're always offering to help each other with their hair or do the dresses and stuff like that. But even sometimes it's like they're doing something and I'm like, oh, this would be, even if it was like, oh, this would be way nicer by the window, for the lighting and stuff like that. It's just being able to read the room, read what you're trying to capture and be able to direct that quite well, So
Would you say the bride prep on, like, say you like an average, but obviously they're all like slightly different, different people, but is the kind of like the vibe usually in bride prep very like upbeat, or is it very, like I said, sometimes with groom prep it can be really chill?
Yeah.
Whereas is bride prep more kind of like a bit more hectic?
It's usually the opposite, so a bit more hectic, but also like the bride's always nervous. But
Yeah.
what I've found, especially with the couples that tend to book us, is that the nervousness in the bride manifests itself into like an excitement.
Yeah.
So you can tell she's nervous, but it's coming across as very bubbly and excited and like, oh, I'm nervous, but I can't wait at the same time.
Yeah.
Which is really nice because for photos, it's just super energetic and
Yeah.
But again, sometimes you just need to like, it can be too chaotic. So sometimes you need to just be like, right, okay, guys, we need to do this now because time's ticking on.
Yeah.
And you don't want the cars to pull up and be like, right, we've got to go, and you haven't done X, Y, and Z that you want to capture for them. So there has to be a certain element of like watching the time and being like, okay, we need to get these shots now.
Yeah.
But it's definitely more energetic at bride prep than groom prep. You're there for longer, so when I initially turn up at first thing in the morning, makeup's just starting, hair's just starting, it tends to be a bit more chill.
Yeah.
But at that first half an hour to an hour, I'm doing detail stuff anyway. So I'm working on the dress, I'm doing photos of the dress, I'm doing photos of any like little details they got, so earrings, the rings. We always ask them to bring their invites and stuff, so I'm photographing the invites, the flowers, the shoes, etc. So I'll spend the first 45 minutes to an hour doing all those detail stuff, by which time makeup's in full flow, hair's in full flow, everyone's sort of excited, they've had a few drinks and stuff. It's given a chance for everyone to arrive as well. And then I'm down there and I'm just in the chaos, just photographing. So that's kind of prep there. It's very similar if it's in like a wedding venue. Usually what will happen is bride prep might be upstairs in the bridal suite, and then groom prep will just be downstairs in a room. So we'll typically just go together in a car then, because everything's at one place. Very similar situation. It's just we're in the same place basically.
Groom prep always tends to, and I think it's because the guy, not so much the guy doesn't care as much, but the guys are like, just because I'm just chucking on a suit, and he's like, the main part of the day isn't getting ready. Whereas like for the girls, obviously they usually pop champagne and stuff like that. The groom prep usually takes place either in like you said, like the bridal suite for the bride, and then the groom will either have just like another room or down in like still a nice area, but it won't be like
the main room.
The main room. Yeah.
Cool.
What happens when, obviously, a big thing with the bride prep is like the first look, like when the dad and that comes in. 'Cause you don't get that in groom prep. You know, the mum might turn up and she gets a bit teary and gives her son a hug and stuff like that. But in bride prep, it's like a big thing, isn't it, for the dad to come in and see her daughter. What's that like, shooting that? Like,
It's fun. It's exciting. It's always a bit emotional, and it's always a little bit stressful as well, because it's usually right at the end of bride prep when we're ready to go to the ceremony. So it's sometimes a bit of a rush. But so I'll typically be upstairs photographing the bride and her maid of honour or mum doing up the back of her dress. That's like a very big photo that a lot of brides want. So I'm up there doing that, and I've hidden the dad away in another room downstairs. So when the bride comes down, all the bridesmaids are lined up somewhere. They get to see the first look of the bride coming in, which is really nice. And then what we do then is position the bride in a certain area, get the dad to walk in, and I'm shooting over the bride's shoulder at the dad's reaction.
Because that's all like his reaction at that point.
Exactly. So the bride's been photographed, I've got the reaction of the bridesmaids and stuff, now it's about him. So I always try and get like an out of focus shoulder of the bride, so you know she's there.
Tells the story.
Exactly. But it's about the dad coming in, and it's usually a mixture of emotions. They're either like crying, which is great. They're either like shocked at like how amazing she looks, or they're just really happy and smiley and stuff like that. I think like a lot of the time people want that crying emotion. But what I've found is like they're great shots, don't get me wrong, but also like it doesn't really matter how he reacts. It just matters that he reacts like transparently to him. Like, you know, some dads aren't crying, and like that's just not their personality. But it's like if he comes in like really shocked at how amazing she looks, like that's such a nice connection between the dad and the daughter, because that's real, you know.
So
that's always really fun. But it can be stressful because right at the end of the bride prep. And then obviously the cars arrive. Photographing them getting into the cars and all that stuff, and then we're just shooting off to whether it's in a church or whether it's at a wedding venue in the ceremony room, or if we're in the venue, we can just walk downstairs and go in the ceremony room.
It's definitely more helpful when it is in one place, because sometimes you're then, because obviously we've shot bride and groom getting ready, and then it's like right there in the cars. It's like, cool, we now need to be ahead of bride and groom because we need to get to the venue quicker than them, so that we can again do the exact same things what we did in the preps, which is get there, see the lay of the land, how does it look, where's everyone sitting, what's the lighting like. Like there's so much that like we need to prepare for before they arrive, because we turn up and the lighting's really bad. We need to try and figure a way to work with this to get the best shots. And hopefully we get there and we're like, okay, it's stunning in here, the lighting is perfect.
But that's not always the case.
No.
And I think to like any wedding photographers that are starting out watching this, that haven't had too much experience, what's really, really helpful is having two of us, because Charles will more than often, or well, pretty much all the time, arrive at the ceremony or the church or wherever first. So you're there early with the groom. Bride prep, I usually arrive early and leave later than Charles. It's just a longer process. Yeah,
we should explain that more because of, obviously, like I said, with groom prep, it's a lot more chill.
Yeah.
So you arrive with the groom. He's usually there early because obviously he's waiting at the front for his bride to arrive, so he's naturally there sooner.
And he's welcoming guests and stuff.
Yeah, he's welcoming guests and whatnot. Yeah. And also there's less of an impotence on shots of the groom walking to the venue.
Yeah.
So, like, I still get some of him and his like best men rocking up to the venue. But obviously, there's a lot of shots that the bride would like, and it's very traditional to get of the bride and her bridal party getting out the cars, arriving at the venue, and then making her way to get married.
Definitely.
So it's kind of groom prep starts later, but also finishes earlier.
Yeah.
Maybe only like 20 minutes or so.
Yeah.
But that's enough time to get to where we need to be
earlier.
Then do some bits and bobs, and then we're ready then for the ceremony.
Like at bride prep, I'm typically a little bit stressed, which you've seen when I arrive at the ceremony. I'm just a bit like, okay, right, we're here now. But it's really nice having Charles at the ceremony before me, because I'm usually texting him being like, what's parking like? Or, what's the lighting like? Is the vicar happy for me to be at the front? Like, basically I'm just trying to get a lay of the land without being there. And having you there and being able to feed back that information to me is really helpful.
That's the beauty of having two photographers.
100%. You're just helping each other all day. You're bouncing off each other. So to anyone that's thinking of starting out, getting a second shooter is I'd probably really recommend that.
Yeah.
And then so I arrive then pretty much just before the bride arrives. Charles is already in the venue. I'm photographing the bride coming out of the car, and then I rush into the ceremony then. Charles and I are both there, and we're ready for the whole ceremony. Do you want to start on the ceremony?
Yes, okay, so obviously we've done prep now. We've gone to the venue. I'm there first, and you've come in running around like a headless chicken. I've got Alex, chill out. I've spoken to everyone.
Charles is very good at calming me down.
It's all good. This is where I've spoken to the guy doing the ceremony, and he said, right, I'd like you to be here. Don't walk in front of me. Sometimes they can be really picky. And sometimes they can be like, look, just do what you need to do. Sometimes
Charles has described that very, very well. Sometimes they're a nightmare.
Sometimes they are super picky, and they're like, I don't want you here, I don't want you here, I don't want you here. And it's like, without sounding like disrespectful to them, it's like, I'll take everything you say on board. But at some point, I'm probably not going to listen to you.
Like we need to get shots. Like, I understand that they have a job, and I would say we're more than respectful. We're always so nice. We always ask them what we can do to make their life easier. But if they're just being a nightmare, I don't know why, but for some reason they sometimes don't understand that wedding photos are like one of the most important things of a wedding day. Like, the bride and groom are going to take away their husband or wife, their rings and their photos.
Yeah.
That's all they've got. Their wedding day will be over, you know?
Yeah.
And it's like, this is important. Like, let us take our photos. Don't get me wrong, 90% of the time, like,
they're amazing. Yeah, I think I only had one time where the guy conducting the ceremony was like, I don't want you in the aisle.
Yeah.
And he was like, and to be fair, it's because he was nervous. It was like one of the first ceremonies he'd done.
Yeah.
And the example he gave me was, he's reading from his thing. He doesn't want to look up, get distracted by a photographer, and then forget where he is. And I was like, mate, I completely understand that, but I can't not get, like, the shot looking straight down the aisle with the first kiss and them holding hands.
It's a staple photo.
I cannot not get that shot. I was like, so I'll be in, I'll get what I need, and I'll try and be out your way as soon as I can. Like, if I see you talking, like, what in the bits where you're talking, I'll try and hide away for you. But that is a shot that they both really want. It is literally it's the wedding shot, the first kiss.
Yeah.
And he, to be fair, he was like, oh yeah, okay, cool, I understand that.
We need to get it. Yeah.
But yeah, so we got there, we got the lay of the land. We've spoken to whoever's conducting it. Obviously, if it's in a church, it's like the vicar or whatnot. If it's just a normal wedding venue, then it's just the normal wedding venue person. So usually, ceremony starts. There will have, obviously, there's two of us on usually most weddings. Yeah. One of us will be at the front. Yeah. One of us will be at the back.
Yeah. Which for clients and couples is a very good reason to book two photographers.
Yeah.
You get multiple angles throughout the entire day, but the ceremony, like Charles just explained, is like a really good one because one of us is at the front, which is great. Like, that's where I would say 90% of the photos come from.
Yeah.
But being at the back and getting a wide shot of the whole room, of getting the first kiss looking down the aisle, both sides of the ceremony are like really important in my eyes.
So the candids as well, because a lot of people will be tearing up.
Yeah, true.
A lot of people, be like I said, getting emotional and stuff like that. So it's just grabbing those little bits, and that's it. It's just grabbing the view of what. Because obviously, when you're at the front, all bride and groom say that their wedding goes like that. It goes like super quick, and they're like, "Oh my god, it's like the end of the night already."
Yeah.
So having multiple angles and, like I said, that more documentary style of photography where I'm not just shooting straight down the aisle.
Yeah.
I'm going off into the crowd and I'm getting people's reactions. I'm getting some background shots of the view from the back.
Yeah.
It just gives, like, when they see those photos, it gives them like that, like, not so much like, oh, that's what it looked like, but they were so in the moment at that point that they sometimes almost kind of forget what's around you. I mean, you're so focused on, and you're so nervous, and you've got to do something, and you're stood in front of hundreds of people potentially. So having those two angles again is so important to, like, really add not just add context to the day, but also to give them a really nice rounded idea of everything that happened in their day, stuff that they didn't even notice.
Yeah, 100%.
But yeah, like I said, one of us will be at the front, one of us will be at the back. The one at the back is, like I said, doing those down the aisle shots, candid shots, general kind of like documentary of the vibe of what was going on. Obviously, a lot of the time especially for your Alexander Lewis stuff, before we merged, you'd be at the front.
Yeah.
What's it like down at the front? Obviously, you're right there. You're essentially like everyone's also looking at you.
Yeah.
You're right next to whoever's conducting the ceremony, and you've got the bride and groom directly in front of you.
Sure.
Kind of run me through that. What's it like?
It's sometimes quite tight.
Yeah.
So like that's worst case scenario, is that if there's too many people at the front and you're literally just squashed, and you're like, I can't really be too creative in this position. All I can do here is just photograph the bride and groom and just document what I can here, which is the purpose of a wedding photographer to some degree. But when there's a bit more space, you can do that, which is essential, but also you can be a little bit more creative. You've got a bit more space to play around with. You can start looking at guests, something like the first few aisles as well. So going back to those candids, you can get a few there. But yeah, I would say being at the front is more about capturing the bride and groom, and having a second shooter allows you to know that second person at the back is doing the creative stuff, because there's only so much you can do at the front sometimes.
Yeah.
But yeah, I'm assuming you would probably agree with that. Being at the back, you can really get a bit more creative.
Yeah, you can get a lot more creative because you've got a lot more space, and I can come right the way forward, and I can go as far back as I want. So yeah, I can pretty much do whatever I want.
Yeah.
I think obviously with two photographers, if I'm shooting straight down the aisle, you're in shot. So, and similarly, if you're shooting directly towards the couple, there's just me stood in the back.
Yeah.
So I think as well, working as a pair, what's really nice, and like I said, if you are looking to get married, you are looking to have two photographers, it's so crucial, and this may be obvious, maybe not be to some people, you need to hire photographers that work as a pair. Or a photographer that brings a second.
Yeah.
Don't hire two separate photographers.
Oh gosh, yeah, that would be.
So
that would be hard.
Because yeah, when I see Alex raise his camera to get a shot, and I see like the angle of his camera, so he's pointing it directly towards me.
Yeah.
I'll probably go. Sometimes I'll go and sit in the. I'll just go and sit.
Yeah.
Because they ain't gonna notice me, and I'm just like.
And that's one thing that I mentioned earlier when we try to dress quite smart as if we're wedding guests. We blend in. Like if I capture you in the back of my shot, I know it's Charles, but to other people, he's just in a shirt. Yeah. Especially if you can't see his camera.
Yeah. A lot of time I'll stand on my hands behind my back with my camera there, just kind of as if I'm a guest. And yeah, they don't know.
Whereas if we just turn up like wearing this, it's like, well, okay.
Everyone's in a suit and it's some guy in a flannel shirt.
Exactly. Yeah.
Yeah.
So we definitely try and like fit in as much as we can.
Yeah.
I think like one of our USBs is kind of just like we blend in the entire day.
Yeah.
And we try not to be intrusive at all. We try to let the day flow very naturally. A lot of the time, some of the reviews we've had is that they didn't even realise we were there a lot of the time. We were just floating around taking photos. We're blending in. We're being just in the shadows, in the background, just taking photos, letting the day unfold. And I think the types of couples that book us, at least, really, really like that.
Yeah, that's a big compliment when. So it's a big compliment when no one knows you were there. But like, it's a big compliment when no one knows you were there, because that means that obviously they've hired you to do a job.
Yeah.
And whereas we're nervous about getting that job done, they're probably nervous that we're going to get the job done. Do you know what I mean? Like the worst thing for them, obviously, thank touch wood, we haven't ever had it where a couple's come back and said that we've missed photos or said that they're not a fan or whatever. But I've heard it in the past with other people that the bride and groom have come back and been like, "Oh, did you get this? Did you get that?" And it was like, and the photographer's been like, "Oh, no."
Yeah.
But yeah, to be there and just for them at the end of the night when we're like, "All right, we're off now, guys," and they're like, "Oh my god, didn't know you were still here." It's like, we've been taking photos the entire time, and it's just, that's a big compliment.
And Charles just said something really important there, which I just want to touch on real quickly, about kind of if the couple was ever unhappy after you've presented them with the photos and stuff. I think it's really, really important, going back to the initial meeting with them, to really run through what they want and what type of photographer you are.
Yeah.
Because there's couples out there who are getting married that will not suit us.
Yeah.
Like, we just won't work well together. We have a certain style that we try to achieve. We're very comfortable to adapt to people's needs and what they want. But at the end of the day, like, our brand and our style is a certain way.
Yeah.
And that makes a certain demographic of couples very happy, and that's what they want from their wedding. But other people want something else, which we don't want to deliver.
Yeah.
So on the initial meeting, we have several meetings with couples when they book us. You know, there's always email conversation, a Zoom call if it's convenient, or we'll literally just go and meet for a coffee, you know. And we'll have a few of them. And we'll just really run through everything that we want, everything they want and everything that we can deliver, just to make sure that we really are compatible. And if we're not, it's not we're saying, right, we don't want to photograph your wedding. We'll be like, look, we think that you're more suited to a different style of photographer. We have a very big photography community around us. We know a lot of photographers. We'll just pass them on to someone else. And we're okay with doing that, because it's not that we see other photographers as competition and like, oh, we're losing work. It's that we want every couple to enjoy their wedding day to the fullest and to be super happy with the final product of the photography.
Yeah.
And if we feel like we can't deliver what a couple want, we're more than happy to pass it on to someone else.
Yeah.
It's their wedding day and it's super important.
100%.
So,
100%. Yeah. I think the only time that, you know, we may say to a couple, look, this, you know, maybe you need to find someone else, is, I would say, if they're, say that the bride sat down and really wanted, almost like, the best way to describe it, like Vogue-esque.
Very fashion-based.
Very fashion-based, very, like,
posy.
not even really bothered about group shots and candid and stuff like that. She literally just wants, almost like a catalogue of, like, modelled, like, wedding photos. We'd be like, we do a bit of those.
Yeah.
We do those, by all means. We do those for every couple.
But it's not our main...
But it, you know, we're not that photographer, that set photographer that's going to take you off for 3 hours to go and have, you know, a photo shoot. It's going to be, you know, we'll take you away for an hour.
Yeah.
And most of the people that come to us are like that anyway. You know, they just want like an hour or so of couple shots and stuff like that.
100%.
But
and I think like during that hour that we take couples away with us, that's a perfect amount of time for us as well. Like we know we can get above and beyond what they're asking for and what we're trying to achieve. We know we can get a load of content for the couple in that hour. And we don't want to take the couple away from their wedding day for too long. Like we want them to enjoy their day, you know. We want them to be with their friends and family and stuff. We want to get those candid shots and stuff like that. So that hour is perfect for us. But yeah, like Charles said, we're not fashion photographers, especially on a wedding day. You know, we have to do a bit of posing here and there, but natural stuff is more of our skill set in on wedding days and what we strive for.
We've jumped ahead a little bit because we've gone on to couple shots.
Oh yeah.
But
where are we? End of ceremony.
We're at end of ceremony.
Okay.
To be fair, we haven't jumped that far ahead.
Okay.
Because so ceremony ends. Obviously, you've got all the photos from the ceremony. A lot of the time, depending on the ceremony, say it's at a church and there's a nice garden, we'll do group shots. In which case, you'll have that list we spoke about right at the start will come out, and it'll be like so and so. Like it'll just be a list of like John, Deborah, and you know Archie want to have a photo with the bride and groom and stuff like that, and we'll just work through that list, and that is so important from the bride's point of view, and the groom, to give us that list because we don't know who anyone is. So it's like the last thing you want is for after them to then email you and be like, oh, did you get a picture of Bob? Who's Bob? I have no idea who Bob is.
We've probably got a photo of him, but not a group shot.
Because I don't know who that guy is.
So
it's so important when you are booking a wedding photographer, and every wedding photographer should ask you for this, is to have a shot list of who you want, who the main. Obviously, we can always do more on the day. If you're like, oh, actually, let me grab Barbara for a photo, we'll always do that. It's like there's no limit on the photos that we give you, none at all. But the ones that you definitely want, because also you're going to get caught up in the day. You are going to get caught up in the day, and if you think, oh, I'll remember, you won't remember.
And with group shots as well, there's 2 points that are really important with that list that Charles was just talking about. Obviously, number one that Charles just said is to actually have the photos that you want. Like we don't know your friends and family, so we need that list. But also, what we found in our experience is sometimes group shots can be too many if you don't have a list, and the people that always tell us that they've had enough is the bride and groom, which is mad. Like, it's very repetitive. What we always say is like, we need a list off you, but we want immediate friends and family, obviously bridal party, we want the close-knit people that you really, really want. Like Charles said, throughout the rest of the day, if there's your uni friends coming in the night and you want a group shot, we'll just go and do a group shot. Just come and ask us, that's fine. But like that period of time is for really, really close friends.
The ones
and family.
that when you go away from the wedding and you look back at the photos,
you're going to put those photos on your wall and stuff.
Yeah, the ones you know you're going to send to your grandma to get
Exactly.
framed and stuff like that.
100%.
And stuff like that. Yeah, it's those ones that are so crucial to you that. It's you need on your big wedding day. You always wanted to have a photo with your grandma.
Exactly.
Kind of thing. It's like cool. That's one to go in the list.
Yeah.
So that's something we'll do a lot of the time straight after the ceremony because everyone's together. And everyone's come out of the church, come out of the ceremony, and they're all congregated in a big group together.
That's exactly why we do that. And also, we do confetti just before that.
Yes.
So coming out of the church or the ceremony or wherever, one of us will line people up either side of a walkway that the bride and groom are going to come through, and then we'll walk them through, taking photos, obviously with all the confetti and stuff, and then, like Charles said, everyone's just together, so we'll go straight into group shots then.
Yeah.
So once group shots are done, usually the wedding coordinator at the venue will start bringing people inside for drinks and or potentially to go and sit them down into the room before food. And that's when Charles and I will then go and do some group, couple shots.
That's a perfect time to just while all the other guests are moving into the next part of the day. You've then got a time to take the bride and groom and be like, right guys, because a lot of the time as well after group shots, and this is going to sound so harsh, they're sick of their friends and family.
Yeah, they want a bit of alone time.
Everyone wants a photo with the bride and groom. Everyone wants to come up and say congratulations. But when you've got 150 people, it's a little bit like, I don't know, I guess for the bride and groom on that day, it's a little bit like being a celebrity.
100%.
Like everyone wants to come and talk to you. And a lot of the time, they've just got married. Like they've literally just got married. They want a bit of time just with each other. Just to chill.
And from like my own experience, so I'm married. I don't know if I mentioned that in the first episode, but when me and my wife got married, like Charles said, that was just a time where we could just relax. Like we were still with a photographer and stuff, and we were still having photos, but it was very, very relaxed. We went for like a nice walk around the venue. We had a chance to just like chat a little bit, me and my wife. The photographer was saying, "Oh, can we just have a photo here? Just have a photo here," which was absolutely perfect. And that's what we tend to do. We keep it really nice and calm. We let them have a bit of space together.
That's it.
Every now and again, we're just like, right, guys, let's do this, let's do that, and we get the couple shots.
Yeah, exactly. I think it's nice. Just you take the bride and groom away, and sometimes we've just sat with them for like 5 minutes, and before going, we know where we're going to take them, but everyone's moved away. We've gone round the side, or we've gone out of the venue room into wherever, and you can see them like breathe, and they're like, oh my god, we've actually done it. Like they're reflecting on that what's just happened in the past half an hour, and we're often just like let's take 5 minutes, guys, just chill. Like there's no rush. We got 2 hours until food. Just chill out for a minute. They'll stand or sometimes the bride will sit or whatever, and they'll just take 5 minutes, and we'll just be on the other side of the room just talking, looking at photos, just giving them that little bit of time just to
recover
and take in what's just happened.
Definitely. And then so after that's complete, it's typically then food, which is when we'd have a break. I mean, speeches are either before food, during food, which we've had, so a speech between each course, but more traditionally thereafter. So we'll just go with the traditional route for this podcast. But like I was saying, it's everyone will sort of sit down for food then, and Charles and I we'll stay at the venue, but we'll sit outside of where they're having food just to have a break, and that's typically when we'll back up all our photos. We need a break. So we just have a bit of a chill.
Need a break as well, because I think a lot of the time it gets forgotten that
it's a long day.
For us, it can be. For me, it may be a little bit less, or for whoever it is going to. I mean, it's only like 2 hours less, but it may be a little bit less. But for you, obviously, you've got up at 6 a.m. Obviously, we've been through that process. You've got up 6 a.m. You're nervous. You've got your batteries, you packed your car, you've gone to bride prep for 8 o'clock. So that's 8 o'clock in the morning, 6 o'clock in the morning you're up. And then we may be shooting first dance until 8:30, 9 o'clock.
Easily.
So that could easily be a 12, 13 hour day.
Easily.
And
if we're not local as well, we got to drive.
We got to drive, and also we do a little bit, and you can be a little bit. It's not so much cheeky, but you can you know when they're having like canapes and stuff like that.
Yeah.
They never mind, if you just take one or two.
Yeah.
But mainly like the people have arrived. They've obviously arrived straight at the ceremony at like 12 o'clock. So they've had breakfast, all the guests and that. They then had canapes.
Yeah.
We literally haven't eaten for like 8 hours.
It is mental.
Like it can be a bit nuts.
Yeah.
So we need that time as well just to have a break.
Yeah. And like a wedding day goes so fast.
Yeah.
You don't even realise you're hungry until you actually stop and you'd be like, I haven't eaten for like 9 hours or something ridiculous. I haven't had a drink.
Yeah.
And it's not because the bride and groom are horrible and don't offer us stuff. It's just because we're so busy. We've got so much stuff we need to photograph and capture that we just don't even think about that. But
that's
having a break's so important.
Yeah, 100%. But during those speeches and what happens during those speeches? So essentially, like I said, we've had the ceremony, we've done the we've done the group shots. We've then taken the couple away for an hour or so to do a couple shots, and like I said, we touched on that earlier, where we will do pose stuff, but we're not massively into the full-on pose stuff.
Yeah.
They've then come back to the venue.
Yeah.
And they've gone into the room where everyone is.
For food and
Usually
stuff.
everyone stands up and claps and stuff like that, and we'll photograph them walking into the room.
Yeah.
They've then sat down at their table. So at that point then everyone's sat at their tables.
Yeah.
And it'll either be food first or speeches first.
Yeah.
When it comes to the speeches, kind of what are we doing in that time?
So speeches is quite easy.
Yeah.
It's quite easy. So Charles and I will alternate between photographing the person doing the speech.
Yeah.
Like obviously top table is like the most important.
Yeah.
So either one of us will focus on that for the entire speeches, and the other will be floating around the tables doing candids, reaction shots. Or we'll just alternate both, because there's only so many photos you can take of one person doing a speech.
Yeah.
So we'll typically alternate all the way around. But yeah, like I say, it's quite straightforward. We're just photographing reactions, which we're doing all day anyway.
Yeah.
And photographing people doing speeches.
Yeah.
It's quite a straightforward part.
Literally, it's just candids of people laughing, people crying, cheers in when the speech is done.
Yeah.
Photos of the groom getting upset when his mum's talking about him, or when he's having a big soppy one about the bride and he's there with his speech and he's crying.
Yeah.
Obviously, father of the bride as well, when he gets up and he does his speech, and obviously it's that a lot of the time he'll be next to the bride. Yeah. And it's you can often get a nice shot where he's reading the speech and the bride's like looking up at him and tears in her eyes and that. But yeah, it's just those kind of shots, and it's a nice time, to be honest. Again, it's very chill. That's a very easy part of the day.
Yeah.
And then obviously they then have their food, and we will usually go and sit in the bar, or just the general lounge area or something for probably, I'd say, about. To be fair, even though obviously we haven't eaten for a long time and the day's very long, I'd say probably we get like a 2-hour lunch.
It's quite a while. Yeah.
Depends on how many courses they're having. Usually it's 3, so it takes a while.
Yeah, but like I was saying, we're still around, and we're still sort of aware of what's going on, because what we don't like to do is leave for that break.
Yeah.
Because if something happens where it needs photographing or it needs our attention, we're there and we can just jump straight onto that. But yeah, we're also backing up photos at that time. We're looking through like shots, just making sure that we've got everything we need.
Yeah.
So we're still sort of working and we're around and stuff. So yeah,
I think that's the key thing to us is we will be backing up photos and recharging gear.
Yeah,
is like something that if I was a bride and groom, I'd want to hear from their photographers that everything's backed up. So at that moment, if you're getting married and you're sat down having your food, if you've hired us, you've got peace of mind knowing that in that time where you're sitting down and having food, all the photos that we've taken from the beginning of the day, they're being put onto either a completely separate memory card. We shoot to 2 anyway. We should point out we shoot to 2 memory cards anyway. That way, if one corrupts, which does happen, it's one of those things that happen the same as your car can break down.
It's quite rare,
but do you know what I mean? It can happen.
Yeah.
So we shoot to 2 cards. That means we've got double of every photo.
Yeah.
That is then backed up either to a hard drive or just onto the computer or just onto another memory card sometimes, just so we've got like an extra copy.
Yep.
And then usually we'll then have food. Either it's lovely when the bride and groom provide food.
Yep.
Because usually the food is stunning.
Yeah.
But sometimes Sometimes they don't, which is obviously completely up to them. But you're not our favourite couple if you do that.
Charles likes his food.
I love my food. No, usually they'll provide food, or if not, there's the restaurant in the venue. We can grab some food or sandwiches or something like that.
And just a quick tip from our experience with speeches. Speaking to loads of couples and stuff like that, what we were talking about before, whether it's before, during, or after when you decide to do speeches, we always find that before food is best. For a number of reasons. The main one though is that the groom always says that he can relax and eat his food after he's done his speech, because everyone's super nervous to do their speech. So getting it done before just allows everyone to just be like, oh,
it's done now.
It's done. Let's eat our food. Let's enjoy. And then after food, it's kind of a strange time then, because
we're getting towards the tail end of the day now. And to be honest, all of the stressful stuff is done. That's when we also relax as well.
We've done loads of candid, so it's kind of the candid kind of side of things is ticked off as well. But during that period before first dance is when maybe some new guests will arrive, some evening guests and stuff. So there's a few more candids to do there, maybe some welcomes, some bride and groom and stuff like that. But it's very, very chill during that part. We typically try to make friends with a lot of people on a wedding day, so we might just be chatting to some people. There might be some more group shots that people want that we might just do, but it's very, very relaxed. Which is really nice, and then that leads into cake cut and first dance.
Cake cut, first dance, So again, speech is done, everyone's chilled. More guests have arrived. Typically, this is I'd say around 7, half 7.
Yeah, it's usually about that.
Because first dance is usually typically about 8. All that's done. We've chilled out for a bit. We got some more photos of more people and more group shots, and then cake cut. So
cake cut typically works well when it leads straight into first dance. So usually the cake is in the room where the first dance is going to happen. So the DJ's setting up, DJ's ready to go, or band, or whatever you hire, and then the wedding organizer will call everyone into the main room. Once it's all been turned over after food, and then Charles and I will position the bride and groom where we want them for cake cut. And then the wedding person, usually, sometimes it's us, but usually the wedding organiser will announce that cake cut's about to happen. Everyone will sort of crowd around. Charles and I will count them down to do their cake cut and stuff, and we'll get all that stuff, and then usually give their friends and family a bit of a chance to take some photos after us, but usually they're just shooting over our shoulder anyway, so that's fine. And then, like I say, that leads straight into first dance then.
I would say as well, cake cut can sometimes be quite anticlimactic. Sometimes a couple really go for it and they cut a proper slice out the cake, and you see those photos where the bride will stuff the cake in the groom's mouth and stuff like that. That's always fun. But sometimes they'll take a proper slice and you'll have a slice of cake. A lot of the time, I'd say 90% of the time, it's literally just down with the knife, and then they're like, cool, well, we're going to eat that later. We've just eaten 3-course meal dessert, so I don't really want cake right now.
No,
that'll be later on. So, that's why we then do it straight into first dance, because then it kind of
it's part of the whole thing.
It's part of the whole thing, and then, obviously first dance, then which it can be very varied again. It can be 100%. Sometimes the room is well lit. A lot of the time it'll be very dark. Obviously they'll dim the lights, it'll be romantic, maybe there'll be a spotlight on the people. And from our point of view then it's just a case of we're literally just walking, rotating, not getting in the way, because obviously we don't want to take away from that moment of them having a dance together, but we're floating around the dance floor, and we're getting some nice full body shots of them dancing. We'll get some close up ones of them if they ever kissed during their first dance. And depending on the room, sometimes we'll use a flash.
I was just going to say, usually at this point of the day, our camera grows double. We've both got massive flashes on top of our camera, so don't be intimidated by that. But
and that's just because it's so dark. It's so dark, and as much as cameras are great in low light these days,
we need a flash.
You need a bit more light, and also I personally love the aesthetic of a flash. First dance, because especially a flash on, say, I like to shoot quite quite wide in a sense of between like 24 to 35 mil, which will mean nothing to you if you know into photography, but that's why you hire us. So it's usually quite wide, but also when I shoot wide and come that little bit closer, it's quite intimate.
Yeah.
That is the beauty of a wide angle lens, is it can create some really intimate moments, because you feel like you're in that moment as well.
And we've started going down this route with the flashes of trying to create some kind of like retro like flash photos.
Yeah, it's a bit more vintage.
Yeah, so we kind of like actually point the flash at you.
Yeah.
And it creates this really kind of like vintage,
Old
old
school
film like type flash look.
Yeah.
Which is really nice.
I prefer that look as well, because also it's, if you're listening to this now and you're thinking, why would I want vintage style photos? Trust me,
it looks good.
When the DJs put in purple and blue and red and green lights and they're all going around the room, that looks so much worse.
True.
It looks so much nicer when it's done.
Yeah.
It's done with the flash.
Yeah.
You know, we take those lights out.
Yeah.
Sometimes we'll take the colour out of those lights. So you got a beautiful white dress, you got a beautiful like suit and everything, and you just got like this purple and red light that just add nothing to the photo. So sometimes it'll be black and white, but a lot of the time it'll be a vintage style look.
Sure.
That really lends itself to the rest of your day, which weddings, even though weddings have obviously people get married all the time, and like weddings have been going on for thousands of years, they haven't really changed much.
They're all still quite traditional. And
a lot of the time they'll have like photos there of their grandparents at their wedding, and to be honest, the photos haven't really changed too much. The quality's changed, but at the end of the day, she's in a white dress, he's in a suit. It's a couple photo. It's this, it's that. It's very similar. So having that, like, because back in the day they probably didn't have a DJ.
Yeah.
Blue lights.
No.
But so having that, taking those photos and making them a little bit less modern day, really lends itself to the rest of your day.
I think it just suits our style of kind of clean, like elegant, just like that's kind of what that flash will provide for us at that point, because like Charles was saying, the lights aren't great sometimes.
And you definitely won't notice it.
Yeah, sure.
That's the other thing people think, like, it's just going bomb, 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 like a big flash. You definitely won't notice it, because again, the DJ's pumping some lights.
You don't notice it at all.
And you're so in that moment of being there, like, you'll just think it's another light, or whatever. It's just, it's not. I think people get intimidated by a flash, but they're really not, especially because they're not massively bright anyway. It's just to fill that little bit of light where it's dark, but. Yeah. And then that's that, and then we'll sort of stay on the dance floor once first dance song is finished, and usually like some kind of party song gets played, so then everyone else will come onto the dance floor. We're absolutely squished on the dance floor, but it's actually really fun. We're just walking around with our camera above, just taking loads of cool shots of everyone on the dance floor. That's the thing, that's when it's, again, having that flash and having that, like, you can get a lot of photos that, to be honest, I'm going to say this in the weirdest possible way, they're bad photos, but really good. So, like, obviously, they're bad photos in a sense of, like, you may have some motion, you may, like, people be moving, and there may be part of the photos that are a bit blurry and stuff like that, but it really lends to, because at that point, everyone's drunk.
I think that adds to
that adds so much.
That adds to the party scene. What I was going to say is something bad, is that it's the end of the day, everyone's a bit drunk, ties around heads sometimes, like it's just carnage.
So you having like beautiful,
it's part of the day.
So having like beautiful, clean, crisp photos would almost look weird. Having those like those like carnage photos. That
it's raw, it's true, it's what's happening there. Why would we fake it? It's your wedding, it's a celebration. Your friends and family want to celebrate. Of course, they're going to be a bit drunk. Of course, they're going to have a good time on the dance floor, and that's what we're going to capture. That's what's happening.
Exactly.
We typically towards the tail end then of where we stay on a wedding day. Like Charles was saying, first dance is usually around 8ish. We would probably then look to stay between 8:30, 8:45, get some of those party shots and stuff like that. And then we sort of shoot off. We'd obviously say bye to bride and groom and anyone else that we sort of become quite close with on the day. And then shoot off, and then that kind of leads into post-production and stuff then. So we just quickly talk about that. So yeah, post-production. On a wedding day, especially if both of us go, we're sort of probably taking around 3,000 to 4,000 photos.
3,000 to 4,000 photos each.
It's a lot. It's a lot.
Yeah, 8,000 photos in total.
Yeah, it's a lot. Which seems like, whoa, that's crazy. But if you think, like, with the cameras we use, they've got such a high speed shutter that, like, for example, with a confetti shot, we're just holding the shutter as you're walking down, just to get every possible shot we can, and that could be 100, 200 photos, just in like a 5-second period. It's and it's the same even with group shots, and even with like the ceremony and stuff like that. As we shoot with our cameras on, like what's called continuous high, which is obviously continuous shutter at a high rate, so it's just bang, 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 bang. Any photographers watching, we use Sony's, by the way.
Yeah,
we've got A7 IIIs and A7 IV,
and that's purely because if you've got a group of 6 people and you go click, fine, you may get it perfect, but what if someone's blinking?
Just get a couple more.
So it's just like we just constantly shoot on that. So it's like, right, 3, 2, 1, guys, bang, 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 and you don't know we've taken like 5 photos. We're like bang, bang, bang.
Modern day technology allows you to do it, so why wouldn't you make the most of it? You know?
And that just gives you that wiggle room of like if someone's blinking, you can go to the next photo because it's split seconds. And they won't be blinking. You're like, perfect, that's the one. And the same with in the ceremony as well. If they're about to kiss and the bride's blinked just as she's about to kiss, take a couple of photos because a split second later she eyes will be open, or you won't have like a nicer shot. So
delivering photos back to you, we don't deliver 8,000 photos. So we cull them down to approximately between 700 and 1,000, something like that.
Yeah.
So it doesn't take too long to cull them down.
No.
But yeah, that's part of the post-production process. So we'll select the best selection out of all of them. Like Charles said, a lot of the time you're going to be blinking in them. There's going to be movement that isn't ideal. There's just going to be shots that you don't want. We'll cull that down to the best. By the way, 700 to 1,000 photos is loads. I think at our wedding day we had maybe 750, and we were looking through them and we were like, wow, that's a lot of photos. Obviously that doesn't sound like a lot when you say we take 8,000 photos, but I promise you that's a lot of photos.
Yeah, it's something that we just decided to do. Obviously it's kind of one of those ones where obviously some photographers will provide less photos. Personally, I don't think you should have a limit on how many photos you should give to a couple. And also, if you've got a nice photo, why would you not?
100%. We'll give you the best selection. But it's typically around that ball mark. But so we'll cull that. And then we'll start thinking about editing then. So we, in the Lamore team, we've got a preset that we use. So a preset for, there's photographers watching, so hopefully you know what a preset is. But if couples that are watching this, a preset is basically a filter, if you like, that we apply to all our photos, which gives us a bit of a benchmark of what the photos are going to look like.
Yeah, because it's crucial for us as a business to have consistency
100%.
with. So when you're looking to book us, you've already looked at our portfolio and you like it. So if we then rock up on the day and shoot something that looks nothing like what you've seen currently, you're going to be like, hang on a minute,
what's going on?
We liked your stuff here, and then you've given us this. So it's literally just a preset. So we'll take a raw photo that's got no edits on it at all, just how it's come out of camera, and we'll apply a preset, and that will apply a specific look to that photo.
100%.
It's not a case of
that's done.
It's not a case of 1,000 photos preset paste
not
done.
At all.
Because obviously we do weddings all through the year. Some days it'll be sunny, some days it'll be cloudy, some days it'll be raining, and that preset will essentially it just adjusts colours in a certain way, and it adjusts like sharpness and stuff like that, just to get a very basic base edit on the photo. It's probably saves us about 30 seconds a photo if we were going to do every single adjustment ourselves. And then obviously I'd say it takes, because obviously at the minute I do a lot of the editing. Obviously going into this year, that role may switch slightly where I'm going to be going out to a lot more weddings, and you're going to be editing a bit more because you want to spend more time at home with Hull. And so usually it would take, I would say, between 3 to 4 hours of solid sat down, working to edit. That's not culling. Culling takes an additional time.
We're trying to streamline everything now because we're getting busy, and like obviously, like Charles said, it's just spot on. It probably takes about 4 hours if you just sat down, just smashed it out. But in peak season, we've got 8 weddings to edit in like a month period, you know, or maybe more. So it's like, okay, that just slows everything down massively. So we're trying to streamline it a lot. We're looking this year at scaling the business up to potentially get an editor on board with us, so that Charles and I could just focus on creating content at weddings, scaling the business, just getting the best product for couples we possibly can. If we can speed up the editing process by getting someone on board that's dedicated to edit for us.
Because the key is not rushing the edit process.
We don't want to rush, and we can't be full-time editors because we're also full-time photographers, we're also full-time business owners. You know, we've got so much on our shoulders.
If you think we're at a wedding for maybe 12, 13 hours, and you do 3 weddings a week, you're already, even if you're there 12 hours, you're already at the 36-hour mark that everyone else will work as a normal working week.
Exactly.
But obviously saying that it takes 4 hours to edit a wedding doesn't mean that the next day you're going to get your photos because it's only going to take 4 hours of my time. A, I might be at another wedding. B, I need a break. Because if you're doing 3 weddings a week, you're working 36 hours a week, which is, like I said, most people's normal 9 to 5. So if I then do 3 weddings a week, and then edit 3 weddings a week at 4 hours a wedding, you're talking nearly like 50, 60 hours a week, which is, you know, it's just not sustainable to deliver the high quality that we want.
Sure. Our turnaround is between 4 to 6 weeks, and that varies on what season it is. Like if we're peak wedding season, you're going to be looking at 6 weeks. If it's quieter, you're looking at 4.
If it's January, you're probably looking
maybe
4.
less. If we can get you less time than that, then happy days.
100%.
But yeah, and that's quite competitive. Like you look at any other wedding photographer, they're offering baseline 6 weeks, maybe longer, 8 weeks I've seen. So you know, we are in that competitive region, but like Charles said, we don't want to rush it. We've got other weddings, we've got, you know, other weddings to edit, we've got other weddings to go and shoot. So yeah, these things do take a bit of time. But yeah, going back to the preset, we've got a preset, we apply that, and then at every wedding the lighting's different, the weather's different, the scenery's different. There's so many different variables that we need to adjust exposure, we need to adjust everything to make the photo look good.
It's then just tweaking.
Exactly.
But you've got to then, you can't, again, it's not tweak one photo, paste across.
No, not at all.
It's you seeking every individual photo bespoke to get it to look the same. So it takes about 4 hours, 5 hours to edit a wedding. And then from there then we'll box it up in a nice packaging and
so
we'll receive it.
The final product is really important. Again, this is what the couple are going to be able to keep. They're going to show their friends. It's their keepsake thing, you know. It's what's going to be on their coffee table. So it's got to be nice. So we've got handcrafted wooden boxes that we use. That have got a USB on with all the photos and stuff, and we also provide, depending on which package you book, we also provide some 6x4 prints in there, which is really nice. You can keep them in the box, or you can put them in some frames on your wall and stuff like that. So it's a really nice final product that we can present to couples. It's really neat, and it just expresses the Lamoure brand, you know?
It's just having that, like I said, you spent a lot of money, and even though you're getting photos out of it, when you spend a lot of money, I think, you know, naturally sometimes you'd want something physical.
100%.
Because obviously you get an online gallery, you get full online gallery where you can download all the photos, and they are, you know, super, super high res, you can print them as big as you want.
But also what's nice about that is that you can send these photos to, like, if you've got family in Australia, you can quickly WhatsApp some people these photos. With the USB, it's great to have, it's just a little bit inconvenient if you've got to plug it in and then download the photo or send it. And,
But it's more just like you've got a backup of those photos as well.
True. 100%.
You've got it on USB. Got it on USB, you've got it on a online gallery, you've got some prints, and obviously if you want more prints, if you want big prints, we can sort that for you. Obviously we we know and we work with different printing companies and stuff like that. So there's one that I use and I really like that's printed all of the stuff in my house. And yeah, we can sort prints for you.
It's not on the website at the moment, but like Charles said, we're super flexible. So just talk to us. You know, it's like if there's something that you want, we're more than happy to kind of probably quote for that and then help you out to get the best product that you're looking for out of that.
Yeah, and I think we're not going to rip you off either. It's gonna like you know it'll be reasonable and it'll 100%. Be it'll be you're not going to be like, oh my god, how much for one printing photo? It'll be you'll be like, okay, sweet, cool. So
that's kind of everything wrapped up there, really.
That's it, and then it's on to the next one, rinse and repeat.
Pretty much the same thing. We got engagement shoots that we throw in there sometimes, but we'll do another episode about engagement shoots. I think that'll be really helpful for any photographers watching who haven't done engagement shoots before. So we could do like a little, maybe like I tend to do most of the engagement shoots, so it might be quite cool to do a bit of like a question answer
kind of on that
situation. So we'll do an episode on that for any photographers watching, and maybe couples. Like if you're wondering about engagement shoots, I would always recommend them. They're really, really fun. Gets you used to the photographers that are photographing you, and you get some engagement shoots to go with your wedding photos, which is really nice.
Do that one next.
So we'll probably do that episode next. Actually, it's a good idea. But that's episode 2 of the Lamore podcast, which is sick. You've seen us open our presents.
It's a bit late, but
happy birthday to Charles. Getting old now, 26.
Oh mate, I know. Well, now I'm getting close to 30. I don't like it.
It's not ideal.
That's mate, my question of when am I getting married?
Oh dear.
Oh no.
That's cool. All right, sweet. We'll see you in the next episode.
See you in a bit. Peace.
Sweet man. That was cool.
Yeah.
Love that.
Nice.